Hello, welcome to day 8 of watching me learn Spanish. I just want to make sure that the live broadcast is working. Um, it still says waiting on YouTube. Oh, here. Hello, welcome to day 8 of watching me learn Spanish. I just want to make sure that the live broadcast. Yep. So we seem to be live. Today's a big day because it's the first time that I'm gonna start working on a new video. Everything up until now has been the video on why I'm learning Spanish. Now I'm gonna make a 5-minute video on how I learned how to code and what happened after that. It's kind of a long and rambling story. It maybe could be seen as the history of my career in software. But yeah, the point isn't really to tell a story about my life. Um, it's more just to have a story that I know very well and be able to learn a ton of vocabulary related to talking about myself. So all the vocabulary, like the Language Lord method talks about in these 5-minute videos, is vocabulary that has context for my life. And that's the vocabulary that sticks best early on. Before I get into the 5-minute video, I gotta do track 18 and 19 of language transfer. So let's start that right now.
So for our verbs, we have amos in the present for we. Now, for er verbs, we have emos for the we, and for ir verbs, we have imos. This is the only time in the whole language that we find a difference between er and ir verbs. They're one group, but here, and it's the only time in the entire language, we have a difference between the two of them in the present for we. For ir verbs, we have imos, and for er verbs. So, preferir, what do you think that means, preferir?
To prefer?
Prefer.
Good. To prefer. To prefer. We want to think with the to. Whenever the verb ends in an R, it's going to help us just to think of that as to prefer, preferir. So how would you say I prefer?
Prefero.
Good. It should be prefero.
Prefiero.
Prefiero. It splits. Prefiero. He prefers?
Prefiere.
Prefiere. They or you plural?
Prefieren.
Good. How would you say we prefer? And preferir has an ir ending.
Preferimos.
Preferimos. So there the e doesn't split, and also the I of ir is appearing in the endings for the first time in the present tense. Preferimos. Good. What was to come?
Venir.
Had something to do with convenient, when things with
Venir.
come.
Venir.
Venir. And how would you say we come or we coming?
Venimos.
Venimos. Good. To live in Spanish is vivir. V-I-V-I-R. Vivir. You might know this from Viva la Revolución. You might have heard that somewhere. Long live the revolution. Viva la Revolución. Or you might have even heard Viva Las Vegas. Long live Las Vegas. Vivir, to live. How do you say I live?
Vivo.
Here, in Spanish, is aquí or acá. Aquí in Spain and acá in Latin America. Everybody understands both. It's an extremely common word, so you don't have to worry. Aquí or acá. So I live here.
Vivo aquí.
Vivo aquí.
Vivo aquí, vivo acá. Good. I don't live here.
No vivo aquí.
No vivo aquí.
Good. But he lives here, and let's stress that because we're contrasting. But he lives here.
Pero vive aquí.
Pero él
Yes.
Pero
vive
él vive
aquí.
Good. Let's make it all together. I don't live here, but he lives here.
No vivo aquí, pero él vive aquí. No vivo aquí, pero él vive aquí.
No vivo aquí, pero él vive aquí.
Good. And don't be afraid to try the soft B. If it's too difficult, then it's not a problem that you pronounce the V. Maybe you want to pronounce the V at the beginning and then see what happens. But the more you pronounce like how people are speaking around you, the more you understand. To know is
Saber.
Saber.
saber. This
Sa-
is a B.
It's a B, saber.
Saber. This is a B. So you're not going to pronounce a V. Saber.
Saber.
So we have vivir, to live. We need to open up that association of the letter V to include that soft B. Maybe you look up the word in the dictionary for summer, which is verano or verano. Now, if you just program your mind with verano, maybe you won't get it when you hear verano. So it always makes sense to pronounce the words the way people around you are pronouncing. So if you are practicing Spanish with Colombians, take their accent. If you are practicing with people from Rio de la Plata, Buenos Aires, Montevideo, who have kind of particular accent, take that accent as well. If you're practicing with people from Madrid, take their accent. The more you speak like the people you're listening to, the easier you understand. Vivir, to live.
Vivir.
How is we live?
Vivimos.
Vivimos. There we have the
Vivimos.
I popping up. Vivimos. But for the other versions, we're going to have the
Vivimos.
E. So he lives.
Bebe.
Some vowel harmony you're making there. Vivir. The E is correct, but you changed the beginning to match that E.
Vive.
Good. Vive. Before you said bebe.
Oh,
Huh? This is vowel harmony again.
Vive.
So you must consciously take off that ending, see what you're left with, vivir, viv, and put on your E. Vive. Good. They live, or you guys,
Viven.
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 They live here.
Viven aquí.
Viven aquí.
Viven aquí, viven acá. The word for where is donde. Donde. So how would you say, where do they live?
¿Dónde viven?
¿Dónde viven?
I want to know where they live.
Sé dónde viven. Sé dónde viven.
Quiero saber
I know. No. Quiero saber dónde viven.
dónde viven.
Good. Quiero saber dónde viven. Good. Entender. Entender is to understand. Entender. We said we can use comprender as well, which might be easy to remember, but entender is much more common. How do you say I understand?
Entiendo.
Entiendo.
Entiendo. Good. The E splits. Entender, entiendo. He understands?
Entiende.
Entiende.
Entiende. He doesn't
Entiende.
understand.
No entiende.
No entiende.
Why doesn't he understand?
¿Por qué no entiende?
¿Por qué no entiende?
¿Por qué no entiende? Good. I want to know why he doesn't understand.
Quiero por qué no
Quiero
entiende.
saber por qué
Quiero saber por qué no entiende.
no entiende.
Good. Quiero saber por qué no entiende. Good. How do you think you would say we understand?
Entendimos.
Entendemos.
Good. So for adverbs we have hemos. So this is the only difference in the entire language between adverbs and adverbs. For everything else they are
Entendemos.
exactly the same. But for we in the present tense we get hemos and demos. Vivir, vivimos. Venir, venimos. Preferir, preferimos. And then for adverbs hemos. Entender, entendemos. Perder, which we said was to lose. So how do you say we lose?
Perdemos.
Perdemos.
Perdemos. Good. The word for always in Spanish is siempre. Siempre. So how would you say we always lose? Yeah, you
Perdemos siempre.
can put the siempre before or afterwards.
Siempre perdemos.
Siempre perdemos.
Siempre perdemos. We always lose. Or perdemos siempre.
Okay, next track.
We said that the word for always was
Siempre.
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 Good. Now, if you know Italian or some other Latin language, maybe you have something like sempre in that language, and you can see again that the E is splitting between sempre and siempre. So if you know one of these other languages or if you've studied them, it can be useful just to notice that, and just noticing that helps you internalize this new word. So, for example, well in Spanish is bien, like in the beginning of welcome, bienvenido. This in Italian is bene. We see that we get rid of the E, the last E, and the E in the middle splits. You have in French, bon, for good. What do you think good might be in Spanish? What do you think?
Good. Buona. Buona.
We'll do to make that more Spanish.
Bueno.
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 We also said that vamos meant we're going or let's go. And it's something that you're going to hear all the time. Vamos, let's go.
Vamos, vamos.
Now, another useful skill that we want in language learning is to work backwards. Not just to work from the to form, take off the ar or the er or the ir and add bits on, but we want to get in the habit of also working backwards, because maybe we see or hear somewhere a word like vamos, and we want to be able to work backwards from vamos to get the other versions, taking off the ending which is for we and putting our other bits on. So could you work out from vamos how it would be he goes or is going, she goes or is going, you will go or are going?
Amos is the ending, so we're just left with v. So I would say be.
The thing is, you don't know the ending of the to form.
If you have amos, you know which is your vowel, no?
Ah.
So, walk backwards.
Ah, yes. Okay. Yes. So, ba,
Ba. What does that mean? Ba.
Ba.
he, she, it, or you, formal.
Good. Go or are
Go,
going.
yeah.
Good. Ba. How would you make that? You. Informal.
Vas.
Vas.
Bus. Good. If you want to say where are you going, you will hear to where are you going. What was the word for to?
Ah.
Ah. So how would you say to where? To
Donde vas?
where are you going?
¿A dónde vas?
¿A dónde vas?
¿A dónde vas?
What would be they go? Or you plural go?
Van.
Van.
Van. Van. Good. So we can work backwards. Vamos, va, vas, van. What was the I version? It was irregular, and we remembered it by thinking I'm going on a voyage.
Voy.
Voy.
Boy.
Voy.
Good.
Voy.
Now the to form, to go, is ir. IR. All by itself. Ir. This is to go. So it's very irregular, and this is actually because this verb is two verbs that kind of stuck together to form one verb over time. So in French you have like aller, no, which means going, and in English we get alleyway from this. An alleyway is like a road, no, and this is related to ir. So ir comes from one verb historically, and then the versions of ir actually come from a different verb. So they kind of stuck together over time, and they give us this very irregular situation. That's just for interest. We don't need to know any of this. All we need to know is voy from voyage and vamos, and we can work backwards from vamos, and there we have the complete set. Voy, vamos, va, vas, van. But to go is ir. They're coming from two different verbs historically, which is why we have ir, which is an ir verb, but a coming up for all of the different versions. So how would you say I want to go?
Quiero ir.
Quiero ir.
Good. I can go. I have the
Puedo ir.
power to go.
Puedo ir.
Good. I must go.
Debo ir.
Debo ir.
Debo ir. I have to go. So not I must go. Debo ir.
I have to. Tengo que ir.
I have to go. What is I have from tener?
Tengo que.
Tengo.
Tengo.
Ir.
And what do we add to that to get the meaning of have to?
Tengo que.
A.
Que. Like I said, there's no comfortable translation for it, but we add on que to tengo, and we get the feeling of have to, rather than the feeling of possession. So I have to go.
Tengo que ir.
Tengo que ir.
Tengo que ir. I have to go now.
Tengo que ir.
Tengo
ahora.
que ir ahora.
Good. The word for tonight is this night. Esta noche. Esta noche. So I have to go tonight, I have to go this night.
Tengo que ir esta noche.
Tengo que ir esta noche.
Now, noche is feminine. We know this because esta, the word for this, is ending in an A. So how would you say the night?
La noche.
La noche.
La noche. So we said that words ending A are feminine, or there are feminine endings like ion or idad, la opinión, la oportunidad. If it ends in an E, there's actually no way of knowing whether it's masculine or feminine by the word. You have to look at what's around it. Or in the dictionary it will tell you. But if you hear it in conversation, you have a look at what's around it, esta noche, and then you can go, oh, okay, so noche is feminine. Another example of a feminine word that ends in an E is carne. Carne. What do you
Carne.
think carne means?
Meat.
It's not at all obvious. You have carnage in English. It was just carnage. Carne is meat. Meat. And it's a feminine word. So the meat,
La carne.
La carne.
la carne. I don't eat meat.
No como la carne.
No como carne.
No como carne. The word for end in Spanish
No como carne.
is y. And it's just spelled with a Y by itself. Y.
Y.
I don't eat meat and I don't drink or I don't take alcohol.
No como carne y to take. No como carne y no bebo alcohol.
So tomar was to take.
Tomo. No como carne y no tomo alcohol.
Tomar. And comer, to eat. So how would you say, I don't eat meat and I don't take alcohol. I don't drink alcohol.
No como carne.
And
Y
I don't drink alcohol.
No tomo
No.
alcohol.
no tomo alcohol. Alcohol.
Alcohol. Good, because
Alcohol.
we don't pronounce H in Spanish, do we? No como carne y no tomo alcohol. Or if you wanted to say, I eat meat and I take alcohol. I eat meat and I drink alcohol. How would that be?
Como carne y tomo alcohol.
Como carne y tomo alcohol.
Good.
Okay, so finished with language transfer for today, and now getting into the hard part. This is harder than usual because I'm starting from scratch with a new 5-minute video. And I kind of mapped out what I want to say in English, at least the first part of this video. And I want to try to stumble through it in as much Spanish as I can, which is going to be probably very little, and then say the English and use the video instead of using the writing, I think. Yeah, so let's just get into this and see if I can see which words I know in Spanish, which sentences I can kind of stumble together or cobble together, but don't have much hope right now because I already see tons of gaps in knowledge. But yeah, this is the method, so let's do it. That was a picture. Okay. How did I learn? ¿Cómo aprende? Or ¿cómo aprenda? ¿Cómo code? How did I learn how to code? ¿Cómo aprende? ¿Cómo code? Y que after, what happened after? Y qué pasa más tarde. En la universitaria estudié. I need to find the endings for the first person preterite. Filosofía y física, no computer science, scienza computadore or something. I didn't know how to code. I didn't learn how to code. No aprende como code. Durante my studies, durante mis estudios, I was working, trababa en un laboratorio haciendo research in protein structure using electron microscopes. El laboratorio was full of biologists, biologics, I don't know how to create biologists, pero they needed, so that would be like tener que, but the past version. Need to figure that out. They needed work done that involved coding. They needed trabajo que involved coding. I took on the challenge. This is kind of idiomatic, but maybe I can get something equivalent in Spanish. Yeah. I spent I spent 1 year learning, aprendiendo que I needed. Tiene que to get the project done. El proyecto finito. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. The reason I'm stopping the video there and not going through the whole thing right now is because I want to learn these words that keep appearing over and over so that when later they come up, I'm not just saying the English word. This is kind of going to build on itself, I think. So let's watch the video and then put this stuff in DeepL.
How did I learn? ¿Cómo aprende?
Yeah, so I want to immediately look up the preterite endings because this talks about the past a lot, and I don't know how to conjugate the preterite in the past for the first person. So aprender, conjugation. Okay, so yo aprendí, tú aprendiste, ella, usted, aprendió, aprendimos, aprendisteis, aprendieron. Okay, so aprendieron. And this is how it's done with an ER verb, I guess. Would it be the same with a AR verb? Like, what's a good AR verb? I guess ir was conjugated like an AR verb, right? That's what I learned in language transfer. Okay, so fuiste, iste, yo, fue. Okay, it's not the same. Alright, let's just stick with the ER verb conjugation right now. So I learned, but how did I learn? Would that be how I learned in Spanish? Do they simplify do they take out this did I? How did I learn? ¿Cómo aprendí? Okay, good. How to code. ¿Cómo aprendí a programar? Good. So aprendí is right. It is the preterite that I need. ¿Cómo aprendí?
Aprender.
Aprendí. ¿Cómo aprendí a programar? So programar is an AR verb. Let's see how that's conjugated. Interesting. So the first person preterite is programme, and with an ER verb, it's aprendí. So programme, programaste, programo, io, iste. Programamos, programasteis, programo, programas, programa. All right. So, ¿cómo aprendí a programar? And what happened? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasó? Yeah, ¿qué pasó? I remember from language transfer that pasó is talking about it happened in the past. ¿Qué pasó after? Más tarde? Después. Okay. Oh yeah, and with questions in Spanish, they have this upside down question mark at the beginning of the sentence, which I think is genius because before you start reading the sentence, you already know that a question is coming. In English and most other languages that I've seen, the question mark comes at the end, and sure, you might be able to make out that there's a question coming, but why not just show via punctuation that there is a question coming? So, ¿cómo aprendí a programar y qué pasó después? y que pasó. So this O has an accent. Después has an accent. Después.
Or como aprenda, como code. How did I learn how to code? Como aprende, como code y que after, what happened after? Y que pasa,
¿Qué pasó?
más tarde?
Is the present.
En la universitaria estudia.
Okay, now I want to try this now that I know the conjugations a little bit better. En la universitaria estudi AR verb. So let me see the AR verb conjugation of. Okay, so I would say estudié. En la universitaria estudié. Okay, good. En la universidad, not universitaria. En la universidad estudié. En la universidad estudié filosofía y física. Estudié filosofía y física. Not computer science. Not. Maybe computer science is like informática or something. No informática. Informática. No informática. Okay, so ¿cómo aprendí a programar? ¿Cómo aprendí a programar? ¿Y qué pasó después? En la universidad estudié filosofía y física, no informática. Okay.
I need to find the endings for the first person preterite. Filosofía y física, no computer science, scienza computadore or something. Um, I didn't know how to code.
I didn't know how to code. So saber is to know. I didn't know. No, saber would conjugate like aprender. So I would say no sabí cómo programar. No sabí cómo programar. No sabía. No sabía programar. No sabía cómo programar. So saber, why doesn't it conjugate like aprender? Oh, they're giving me the imperfect. And that is actually right. Because it was a continuous thing, like I didn't know in this period. So it's sabía. Supe would have been. But even the preterite doesn't conjugate like I thought it would with an ER verb. And I guess that's because saber is irregular anyway. Even yo sé, it's not so, it's se. Okay, so let's see what we have. I didn't know how to program. Let me say at all. No sabía programar en absoluto. Okay. No sabía programar en absoluto. No sabía programar en absoluto. Programar. No sabía programar en absoluto. No sabía nada de programación. No sabía programar en absoluto. Okay.
I didn't know how to code. I didn't learn how to code. No aprende cómo code. Durante my studies, durante mis
During my studies, durante my studies, mis estudios, durante mis estudios, okay, so mis is possessive and it's the plural. Okay, durante mis estudios.
estudias, I was working trababa.
So this, I think, would be the imperfect too. Trabajar. So how does an AR verb conjugate in the past? What's an AR? Like, would it be trabía? Trahaba. Trahaba.
Eso es exactamente lo que dijeron cuando trabajaba en Bofa.
Trabajaba en Bofa. Y trabajaba.
Y trabajaba en un sitio donde los milagros ocurrían.
Y trabajaba. So during my studies, I was working. I think it's going to be trabajaba. Okay, there is a version with trabajaba. During my studies, I was working in a lab. So it took out the trabajaba and gave me the progressive with trabajando. Estuve must be the imperfect of estar, right? Oh, it's the preterite, okay. So during my studies, I worked in a lab. I was working in a lab. Estuve trabajando en un laboratorio, doing research. Investigación in protein structure using electron microscopes. I know this seems really complicated to say in my 8th day of learning Spanish, but it is something relevant to my life. So maybe it will stick. So durante mis estudios, all right, they changed it again to trabaje. And that, I want to hear that pronounced. That's the preterite. Oh, I can just.
Trabajé.
Trabajé. Trabajé. Trabajé. So, durante mis estudios trabajé en un laboratorio investigando la estructura de las proteínas con microscopios electrónicos. So, durante mis estudios trabajé durante mis estudios trabajé en un laboratorio. So research is investigando. I like that, investigating. Investigando la estructura, la estructura de las proteínas, de las proteínas con microscopios electrónicos. Con microscopios electrónicos. Con microscopios electrónicos.
Baba. En un laboratorio haciendo research en protein structure using electron microscopes. El laboratorio was full of biologists. The
lab was full of biologists. El laboratorio estaba
Llenar. 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 Llenar.
Llenar. This website's awesome, Spanish Dict. You can get pronunciation so clear like that. So, and you can choose between the Spanish and the Latin American pronunciation. So, el laboratorio estaba llenar de biologists. Biólogos. El laboratorio estaba llenar de biólogos. Let's make sure that's right.
Biólogo.
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 Biólogos. El laboratorio estaba lleno de biólogos.
Biologics. I don't know how to create biologists. Pero they needed, so that would be like.
Okay, so needed, like tener is an ER verb. Tenique, well, no, tener. Tuvieron que. So, tuvieron que trabajo. Okay, so they use necesitaban, pero necesitaban. And which conjugation is that? Imperfect, okay.
Necesitaban.
Necesitaban.
Los los discípulos necesitaban todos estos dones para cumplir su misión.
Necesitaban. So, el laboratorio estaba lleno de biólogos, pero necesitaban work done, trabajo, pero necesitaban trabajar that involved programming. Pero necesitaban trabajos de programación. That's actually a simpler way, even in English, to put it. Okay. El laboratorio estaba lleno de biólogos, pero necesitaban trabajos de programación. Laboratorio estaba lleno de biólogos, pero necesitaban trabajos de programación. Trabajos de programación.
Tener que, but the past version. Need to figure that out. They needed work done that involved coding. They needed trabajo que involved coding. I took on the challenge. This is
gonna be idiomatic, I think. I took on the challenge. Acepté el reto. I accepted the challenge. Acepté el reto. Acepté aceptar. So acepté is the predicate. Acepté. I'd like to hear that. Oops.
Acepté.
Acepté el reto.
kind of idiomatic, but maybe I can get something equivalent in Spanish. Yeah. I spent I spent 1 year learning, aprendiendo que
Pasé un año
I needed.
aprendiendo.
tiene
Lo
que
que necesitaba.
to get the project done. El proyecto finito.
To
Okay, I'm gonna stop
finish
here.
the project. Pasé un año aprendiendo lo que necesitaba para terminar el proyecto. Necesitaba. Let's see if I can hear that.
Necesitaba.
Necesitaba. So spent is to pass a year, and I should have known that because in my first story, I said that I want to spend some time in Spain, and I said pasar un tiempo en España. So pasé un año aprendiendo lo que necesitaba para terminar el proyecto. Okay, so I pasé un año aprendiendo lo que necesitaba para terminar el proyecto. So, necesitaba para terminar is a new thing. Like para and por, I don't have an intuition for the difference between them yet. Hopefully language transfer can help with that. Yeah. Maybe I just make a video stumbling through this for now because I have a lot more to add to this story, and I want to solidify what I have already and then maybe try to use what I have to build on to the next stuff that I want to say. So, ¿cómo aprendí a programar y qué pasó después? En la universidad estudié filosofía y física, no informática. No, I didn't know how to code. No sabía cómo programar en absoluto. No sabía programar en absoluto. No sabía programar en absoluto. Durante mis estudios trabajaba en un laboratorio investigando la estructura de proteína. Durante mis estudios trabajé en un laboratorio investigando la estructura de las proteínas. usando un microscopios electrónicos, usando de las proteínas con microscopios electrónicos. So, durante mis estudios trabajé en un laboratorio investigando la estructura de las proteínas con microscopios electrónicos. From the top. ¿Cómo aprendí programar y qué pasó después? En la universidad estudié filosofía y física, no informática. No sabía programar en absoluto. Durante mis estudios trabajé en un laboratorio investigando la estructura de las proteínas con microscopios electrónicos. El laboratorio estaba lleno de biólogos. El laboratorio estaba lleno de biólogos. Pero necesitaban trabajos de programación, Acepté el reto. Pasé un año aprendiendo lo que necesitaba para terminar el proyecto. Alright, that wasn't so great, but let's try it again. ¿Cómo aprendí programar y qué pasó después? En la universidad estudié filosofía y física, no informática. No sabía programar en absoluto. Durante mis estudios trabajé en un laboratorio investigando la estructura de las proteínas con microscopios electrónicos. El laboratorio estaba lleno de biólogos, pero necesitaban trabajos trabajos de programación. Acepté el reto. Acepté el reto. Pasé un año aprendiendo lo que necesitaba para terminar el proyecto. Alright, let's see if I got everything in the story that I wanted to.
¿Cómo aprendí programar y
A
qué
programar.
pasó después?
¿Qué pasó después?
En la universidad estudié filosofía y física, no informática. No sabía programar en absoluto. Durante mis estudios trabajé en un laboratorio investigando la estructura de las proteínas con microscopios electrónicos. El laboratorio estaba lleno de biólogos, pero necesitaban trabajos de programación. Acepté el reto. Pasé un año aprendiendo lo que necesitaba para terminar el proyecto.
Okay, I got everything I wanted to say out. Let's do it again. There were a few mistakes though. ¿Cómo aprendí a programar y qué pasó después? En la universidad estudié filosofía y física, no informática. No sabía programar en absoluto. Durante mis estudios trabajé en un laboratorio investigando la estructura de las proteínas con microscopios electrónicos. El laboratorio estaba lleno de biólogos, pero necesitaban trabajos de programación. Yo acepté el reto. Pasé un año aprendiendo lo que necesitaba para terminar el proyecto. Let's see if there
¿Cómo
were any-
aprendí a programar y qué pasó después? En la universidad estudié filosofía y física, no informática. No sabía programar en absoluto. Durante mis estudios trabajé en un laboratorio investigando la estructura de las proteínas con microscopios electrónicos. El laboratorio estaba lleno de biólogos, pero necesitaban trabajos de programación. Acepté el reto. Yo acepté el reto. Pasé un año aprendiendo lo que necesitaba para terminar el proyecto.
Okay. No mistakes, at least compared to what I wrote down. I'm gonna wrap up the stream now. It's really, really hard starting these new videos because you're just looking at a blank slate, feeling how much you don't know. But as you start to work through it, it gets easier and easier after some repetition. So tomorrow I'm going to add more to this story. I already wrote down, kind of mapped out what I want to say in English. I'm going to try to nail the beginning part down and then stumble through another few paragraphs of the rest of